Hey, hello, my name is Nuno from Meeples and Mysteries, and today we are solving a mystery that has been plaguing us for ages. Why the heck do the best games, or movies, or music albums always end up with average ratings? Seriously, it's like the more people love something, the more its rating drops. Is this a conspiracy theory? Once you see it, you're not going to be able to unsee it, and it's going to drive you crazy. Or is it? Is it? No, it's not. So, point one, ratings and lies. Sort of. So consider this. That game you loved, probably a 7.5, right? The movie that changed your life, probably 3.5 stars, right? Ratings aren't objectively truth. They are messy, they are emotional, and they are deeply human. So, ratings aren't really what you think. So let's start with a bombshell. 7.10 is probably the best game you have ever played. Yeah, because on sites like BGG or IMDb or any other big rating site, a 7.5 probably means loved by thousands, played by tens of thousands, and stood the test of time. And why is that? The more people rate something, the more the score drops to the average. And that's not always fair or useful. Or is it? Maybe it is. The average paradox. It goes something like this. Let's consider a 9.2 from 2,000 fans versus a 7.6 from 200,000 players. The average hides how much love or hate a thing actually gets. You see this in niche indie games versus mass market games because a bigger audience means more variability and a lesser average, the lower average. And that's why the more people play a game, the more it will drop. Finally, a reason why my 1-star rating of Wingspan doesn't matter. Trash game. Too peaceful. No blood. So what does that mean? It means your cult favorite indie game that has a 9.2, if everyone played it, it would probably get a 7. And that's not bad. That's just the truth. So, ratings reflect audience alignment, not quality. We are really not rating goodness, we are rating how much you liked it. A game perfectly tuned for Eurogamers might be a 9 in that circle, but a 6.5 for casual gamers. It's like asking metalheads to rate a jazz album. They are not wrong, they are just not the intended audience. It's just not for them. About hobby snobs, every hobby has them. We're probably all been down that road at some point. There's always that point where we kind of start understanding the bigger picture, and then we have a tendency to do this. And that means that as soon as something becomes popular, the knives come out. People start judging stuff not just for what it is, but for what it represents. Hype, overrated, too casual. Now they're reviewing the fans. They're not reviewing the product anymore. Or ratings like, it was fun, but not groundbreaking. Then a 6 out of 10. There's also the discovery bias. Early raters tend to be the intended audience. Fans, backers, hype followers. That first glowing wave of 9s and 10s, probably not objective. And once a game hits a wider audience, the average will settle in. Another thing to consider about ratings. Different people rate differently. Let's be honest, most of us are not using the same scale. Some people rate games like it's Yelp. Components were nice, 10. The box was dented, 1. Others rate the like they are pitching to a jury. Strategic depth, 7.23. Component quality, 8.41. Repayability, 5.0002. If you're reviewing close decimals, you either have a spreadsheet fetish or no friends, man. Then the wave of popularity. As I mentioned earlier, popularity is a double-edged sword. The more accessible something becomes, the more people outside the intended demographic get to play it and experience it. That's when you get ratings like, my cousin said this is the best game ever. I played it once. 6 out of 10. Popular things tend to become punching bags. There's the problem of emotional ratings versus rational ratings. Something like, you beat your friends? 9 out of 10. You got crushed by grandma? 2 out of 10. It's not about logic anymore. It's about dopamine, salt, and social embarrassment. So now let's talk about the BGG Top 100 and what it actually means. So BGG has an average rating and then it has a ranking system, which means BGG doesn't just use average rating, it actually waves in how many people rated the game. And that's why we come to this important part, that is, most incredible games are 7s and 8s. And mostly 7s, and just a couple of 8s. They're not 9s, they're not 10s. The ranking filters for consistency and wide appeal, not just rabid fan love. It's actually a pretty accurate ranking system, even if it doesn't mean that those games will be your favorites. Yeah, man, that's why my game idea, the Talks Fraud, the card game, it's still at 0 ratings, man. The coward. Calm down, man. Calm down, man. Oh, there's also genre bias. Different genres get rated differently. Heavy Euros tend to have respectful 8s and 9s. Party games, those tend to be lower, even if everybody really loves the experience when they play them. Social deduction, hilarious and fun, but you rated it a 6 because Shad yelled too much. Hey, give me some space, Johnny. So we're not judging games equally. We're judging them based on what we value. And we're normally doing that post-experience. And we are not always objective about the experience we have had. So again, let's talk about the hidden gems and the mainstream staples. High scores with lower player counts are always suspicious, but sometimes they are underappreciated masterpieces, and maybe they were just not exposed to the scrutiny that a wider game gets. So don't be fooled by a 9.1, be curious but cautious. I was getting angry. So let's talk about the BGG 9.5 game that isn't better. Because you might find a game that it's 9 point something and think, this must be the best game ever. But nope, look closer. It has 57 ratings, and it's not even widely available. It's a niche game played only by superfans, and only superfans rate it. Of course they love it. Sorry, man. The real masterpieces, games with tens of thousands of ratings that sit at a 7 point something. That's your real 10. Now let's talk a bit more about star rating psychology. Solid is normally 7. Not for me, but okay, should be a 6. Blew my mind, should probably be an 8. And maybe this is how most rational people rate their games. But then there's the others. The all of nothing crowd, the extremists, the trolls, and the fanboys. The game that rate a game. The people that rate the game a 1 out of 10 because the shipping was delayed. Or even blind 10s because a fanboy rated the game from Kickstarter before he even got the game. And the thing is, for bigger audiences and games that reach wide, the extremes tend to balance out. And these are normally minorities rating the games this way. But for smaller games though, they can really affect the average of a game. They can either tank a game or inflate it. So before trusting a rating, dig into the comments and find out why. Ask yourself this, are the comments thoughtful or are they just yelling? If the BGG comments are full of, this game is trash, 1 out of 10, there's no substance, there's no rationality, no critique, it's just emotional trash. I give every game a 10, unless it makes me lose, man. Then it's a 1. And sometimes I also rate games with an 11 out of 10, man, because I'm elite. And also because I've never opened the box, man. Ratings don't tell you the journey, just the average temperature. Also remember, not everyone rates. The community in BGG is actually a small portion of the people that play board games. Most people just play a game, enjoy it, and move on. So there's a tendency that most ratings will come from the extremely passionate or extremely angry. Which means that just for start, your sample size is already a bit skewed. Now, one of the more important points is understanding reviewers and content creators. Because just like ratings, not all reviews are the same. So good reviewers or good content creators generally go through these points. They explain both the pros and cons, they provide context, they admit their own biases, they say things like, you might not like this if X. Bad reviewers are normally like, they overhype, they sound like heads, they never mention flaws. I do love every game, Nuno. Especially the ones that pay me. So be skeptical, especially if they never say no. But watch out, Just because a review or a content creator fulfills the good steps that I mentioned, that doesn't mean that can skew your perspective and make you buy a game that you don't want. Or the contrary, they may make you think that the game is not for you. It's really hard to judge this and actually figure out, because content creators, especially since they have a close relationship with game providers, and it's not really realistic for any content creator to just review lots of games and just pay for all of them. There will always be just a tiny bit of influence. So even if they are honest and they want to be honest, always take it with just a tiny bit, a grain of salt. And also don't judge them too harshly. Most of the content creators I follow, they are really awesome, and they do manage to tread that line. Chacotic. And they do manage to tread that line more or less well, but you just have to be aware of it. All reviewers are liars, man. Except me. I once reviewed a game I hadn't even opened. I gave it a 12 out of 10. Based on the weight of the box alone. By the way, sometimes it's also just impossible for a reviewer to contextualize how they see a game versus how you will see it. Because when people have played and rated and owned like plus 300 games, they can get jaded. A game that might have blown their minds 2 years ago, now it's fine. No, man. No. All ratings are wrong. BGG is rigged. My favorite game, you got a 6.3, man. A 6.3, man. I've seen microwave dinners getting higher ratings. Well, Johnny, you rated Monopoly a 9 and Pax Pamir a 3 because you said it has too many words. Exactly. Real gamers don't read, man. So now let's briefly mention the community versus the casuals. The truth is, the more in you are into a hobby, the more your tastes tends to diverge from the average. In BGG's case, that might not be something super big because the BGG community tends to be the in folk, the people that are really into the hobby. But if you consider the rest of the world, the non-gamers, your opinions they will be completely different. And even for us, for normal gamers like us, it becomes increasingly harder to bridge that gap and to contextualize. And with some experience, you should be able to, but sometimes it's hard to understand what types of games a non-gamer will like or not. Sometimes we make big mistakes in that regard. But the truth is that with more and more experience, we tend to reach three biases, so to speak, that we tend to think that gateway games are just too simple, thematic games are too lucky, and innovative games are too weird. And we tend to become too picky. And that's also why you should follow more than one content creator or one reviewer, and you should really try to have it that they are on different personalities and different tastes. Because getting two well-experienced reviews that are from extreme opposites, at least on how they enjoy games and what types of games they enjoy, will probably inform you a lot better than just one. The sum of both reviews is probably bigger than the sum of its parts. So, after all of this, what do ratings really show us? Ratings show us reach, they show us consensus and polarization. They don't tell us if you like it, if it's innovative, or if it's even fun. So, use ratings as a filter, not a final decision maker. Read reviews, watch videos, try it if you can. That's always the best bet. And not everything is bad. On the bright side, BGG's ranking system, using both scores and volumes, actually makes it more useful than any average rating ever could. You're still more likely to find consistent, solid games in the top 100. And really, you can probably go to the top 1000 and still get good games. And they're probably games that they just have a higher probability that not only you will enjoy them, but other people will enjoy them with you. That's many times important. Still, no list can tell you what you like, but it can be a helpful compass and a comparison tool between games. So final thought, when I'm just repeating myself at this point, 7.3 might be a masterpiece for you, a 9.2 might be a disappointment. A rating is just a number in a sea of context, taste, and emotion. So learn to read between the stars. And next time you scroll past a 7.1, maybe give it a second look, might be your favorite game ever. Because at the end of the game... Because at the end of the day, ratings say more about us than about the games. They talk about our preferences, our moods, our experiences. Don't trust the numbers blindly. Look at the context, the comment, the wave class, and above all, play games for you, not to impress a spreadsheet. So what do you think? Have you ever been tricked by a 9? Have you ever judged a 7 too harshly? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and give this video a 10 out of 10, or maybe just a like. I'm Nuno from Meeples and Mysteries. This is Johnny. And this has been our overly emotional rating of ratings. I give this video, man. I give this video a 6 out of 10, man. It's trash. This needs more Johnny. So I hope you enjoyed this video and see you on the next one.